Southern Charmeries, and today I want to show you how to make this double ribbon tree topper bow. First, I'm going to use two ribbons, a 2.5 inch and a 1.5 inch. And the first thing I do is I measure out your ribbon tails. So I measure out 6 feet total. And then you just cut it off right there. So there's one ribbon tail. And I just pinch it in the middle so that you can find the center when you attach it to your bow. And measure out another one. Let's get a lot in the floor. Okay, so then you just gather these in the center, and I've already cut the 2.5 inch streamers, so you can just put them in a pipe cleaner and just tie it off quickly. Just you don't want to tie it too tight because you're going to have to get them out. And then you just lay that to the side. So the first thing to do is to just roll out some ribbon in the floor. And then you can just take your hand and run it down the ribbon. What this does is it uncoils it, which makes it easier when you're working with it to not have to fight it, getting all coiled up. All right, I've got a big ribbon mess in the floor. So let me find the end to this one. Tree topper bows are very popular, and they're perfect to giving your tree a professional finished look. It's nice when you add a bow at the top, and then you can use long picks to stick down into the bow. Gives your tree added height and dimension. Alright, so somewhere here. Alright, so this ribbon is a little thinner than I like, so we'll try it, but it's usually best if you find a little bit thicker ribbon. It's easier to work with. So basically I just layer the two ribbons on top. So you've got the 1.5 and then the 2.5, and then you just pinch it about 1 inch down. So the first loop I measure out is going to be 12 inches long. So this is, I'm sorry, the loop is going to be 6 inches long, but the streamer is going to be 12 inches. So you can use a mat, like I've got a utility mat. You can use a ruler, but it'll probably move around on you, so it better be to maybe tape it down to the table, or you can tape off, you know, down on the table, tape your measurements down. All right, so the first loop is, streamer is 12 inches, so that's your first loop. And then I'm going to take this and flip it this way. So I measure this 12 inches. Yeah, this ribbon's kind of buckling up on me because it's kind of thin. Okay, so now you've got what looks like rabbit ears. So this would be the first two loops, and they're going to be in the center. So the next streamer I will do 14 inches long. And what this is going to do is form an X behind the first two loops that we just made. So I just make sure I'm not twisting it or anything, I'm just laying it down. So my next loops are going to be 14 inches again. So I brought that up behind. 14 inches again, and now this one, this ribbon, I wrapped it forward towards me. So now we've got our two loops that we started with, the bow tie, and then we've got what forms an X behind the bow tie. So right now it should look like this. And then our next loop, what we're going to do is we're going to actually put a loop in between the X. And to measure that out, it's going to be 16 inches. So we measure out a 16-inch strip. Bring it back around. And then another 16-inch strip. And that's going to go over the top. And you just kind of maneuver that loop in between the X. So now you've got the rabbit ears or the bow tie on top, and then you've got a layer of what forms an X behind that, and now you've got, and then behind that you've got another ribbon, another loop in between the X. So it should look like that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, this streamer is going to be 18 inches long. And again, what we're going to do is just repeat, making an X. So there's one, measure it out 18 inches. Inches. This bow would be good for about a 7-foot tall tree. $18. Okay. So now you've got your bow tie, you've got the X behind the bow tie, you've got a loop in between that X, then you've got a second layer, which is forms another X, and then one more time we're going to do one more. So this is going to be, let's do 20. And that's just going to go in the very back between that last X, between that last loop of X's that we made. So 20. So now the bow should look like this. Now I'm holding it in my hand, not so tight that I get a cramp, because I'm still kind of shifting them around a little bit in my hand, but I'm using now my whole hand, not just my fingers. All right, so now that I've got the two loops, which form the bow tie, the center, and then I've got a layer that forms an X on either side, and then I've got a loop in between that X, right? And so that behind that we've got another X, loops that form another X, and then behind that layer I've got these loops that come out in between those that X. And now what I'm going to do is going to just do one more loop. So I finish it off with one more loop. I'm going to make this 20 inches. and push it to the back. And then what you can do is just cut off about maybe a yard. And then you're going to take remember your streamers that you tied off? This is why you don't want to tie it too tightly, because you're going to have to use one hand to take them off. So then you just push it down in there. Push it in your hand holding the bow. And then you're going to take a zip tie and run it behind your hand. Before I secure everything really tight, I make sure that the loops are forming the shape of the bow. You know, nothing's gotten twisted around. And then when I like it, I just pull it really tightly. And then I clip off the pipe cleaner. And then I take clip off the extra zip tie. And then I take pipe cleaner. This is a pipe cleaner and it looks like evergreen. But you can use any red, green pipe cleaner that you want. I thought that this would match the tree better. And then I take it around the front of the bow and then turn it over. And then I just tie it about 2 or 3 times and just twist it. Okay, so now that that's done, I lay it down on the table. Let's see if I can hold it up so you can see it. So I lay it down on the table, and now what I'm going to do is just go through and separate all the loops. So I just separate the loops. I usually work with like 1 layer at a time. And usually 1 side at a time. You can alternate the ribbon too so that they're mixed up. So if you have a green one on this side, you'd probably pull the red one over so that they're all mixed up. Let me see if I've got that. So then you just kind of shape it. Now like I said, the ribbon and the green ribbon is a little on the floppy side for my liking. But once you put it up in the tree and you pull it tight, you're going to put like branches underneath it to kind of hold it in place. You want some coming in the front, some coming to the back. Now you could also just do this with, you know, if you only had 1 ribbon, you could just do it with 1. You don't have to do 2. But there you go. So this is how to make a tree topper bow for your Christmas tree. It takes a little bit of practice, but I know you can get it. Comment below if this video helped you.